Hey everyone, Brendan the Blind Guy here. Now, it is vital that you realise how excited I am right now. Honestly, pray tell I can contain my excitement, but I think it's going to be a little bit impossible right now to remain stationary with like how my pulse is racing at Godspeed here. Oh my god. I think all the way from America to Adelaide, you're going to feel my excitement here as I get to bring another incredible rock star a little closer to you as we discuss the musical art of war in the form of a paper thin hymn with bassist and co-founding member of US alternative rock legends, Dion from Anberlin. How are you, Dion?
Good. I was counting on with you. That was eight good references to our song titles in that intro.
I counted nine.
Oh, I missed one then.
Yeah, okay. So
All right.
I did let's see, Vital. Oh well, so Vital is the album, not
Album, yeah.
yeah. So eight song titles, one album. Okay, I'll
There
give
we
you
go.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Either
yeah.
way, great.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so we met recently while you were in Sydney at the Roundhouse at Sydney Uni for the Amberlin Never Take Friendship Personal 20th anniversary tour, which is actually now 21 years. Um, but also you guys were headlining the Emo Extravaganza mini festival with Cartel, Hot Shell Ray, Broadside, and I think This Wildlife. So,
hmm
pretty incredible. So, I know, like, from following you guys over the years, you've absolutely always loved Australia, or at the very least, Stephen's absolutely loved Australia. So, so how does it kind of feel to be coming back to Australia where we all love you here, guys? We love you guys here so much. After, to celebrate this iconic occasion after 21 years.
Uh, I mean, definitely full circle. The first time we came to Australia was after the album had been released. So
Ah,
we have been coming to Australia for 21 years. 2005 was our first trip down under, and we had no idea what to expect. I mean, at the time, we could only draw a couple hundred people in the States, and then we find out that someone wants us to come to the other side of the world in a different hemisphere and play 2 weeks of shows. And we immediately said yes. Obviously, we were just like, yeah, why not? If anything, we get to go see Australia. I'm for a bunch of guys from us, the middle of Florida. Joey, Steven, and I all grew up in Winter Haven, Florida, which has a population of 30,000 people. So we grew up in an incredibly small town. So the thought of getting to go to the other side of the world, let alone someone paying you to go to the other side of the world, was
yeah,
just an exciting opportunity. And the fact that people, we thought, hey, even if a couple people know our songs over there, it's going to be fantastic. And the first show we played was in Adelaide, obviously, with
yeah.
our affinity for that city, and started, and for your country, started in that city. We get to Australia, and we find out that the show is sold out. Yeah, I think it was 400 people. It was at the
Oh,
Enigma Bar in Adelaide, RIP. Um, we were just blown away. We were so caught off guard. Like I said, we thought that only a few people were going to be showing up, and we found out that the first show was sold out already before we even played it. So it
yeah.
was it was a special moment in our careers, and just, I mean, it was one of the most tiring tours we've ever done. The promoter Destroy All Lines that brought us over just recently with the Emo Extravaganza had a long, great relationship and history with them. They are, responsible for presence in Australia and the love affair
Yeah.
that we have with the country. They took a chance on us and it paid off. But I mean, that first tour, we did so many shows. It was great. We were doing two shows in one day. We were doing an Arvo show and then a
Whoa.
15 and, you know, then like a, what was that? I guess 15 and up show at night and, or 18 and up, whatever the age, you know,
Yeah.
restriction was. So, I mean, there was nights where we would sleep for 2, 3 hours after getting off stage, and we would wake up and go to the airport and fly to the next city and do the whole thing over again. So we were
Whoa.
very exhausted, but having so much fun as well. The first time we actually really had any time off to do anything other than play shows was, I think it was like 3 or 4 days in. We had 2 days off in a row in Sydney, and it was like we didn't know what to do with ourselves.
Yeah.
We were a bunch of broke kids from Florida who were on this incredible tour in a country that none of us had ever been to before. For all of us except for Steven, it was our first time even going out of the country.
Wow.
So we were just like, we were just like in Wonderland basically.
Yeah.
Everything, everything seemed familiar, but it was very different. It just there's that just great Australian culture of people and everything that we were experiencing for the first time. And our good buddies and Anna Skeptic were with us along for the ride. They were kind of our tour guides along with our tour manager Bronwyn. So they took us to do some good Australian things like trying Vegemite for the first time, or
Yeah. Yep.
going and having a beer at a Pokies, just experiencing something like that. So it was so much fun. We were exhausted, but we were all early 20s kids and just full of energy and excitement. And to us was like, we'll sleep when we're dead. It's fine. We will experience all of this and enjoy all of this. And if we don't get to sleep, so be it.
Wow. So hang on.
So
You're
yeah, so
saying
that's where
20.
the love started.
You're saying 20 years ago you were in your early 20s, mate. You still only look 21 to me.
Lots of sunscreen. Living in Florida.
Yeah.
Got to protect your skin. I've grown up in Florida. We're outdoors a lot. Australians have beautiful weather. It gets hot there. Uh, you know, I'm an Irish German, descendant.
Ah.
So my skin has no chance against the sun. So
Yeah, me too. Like I don't tan, I burn after 15 minutes. Yep.
exactly same. I was actually we were having incredibly unseasonably cold weather in Florida right now. Woke up this morning, it was 50 degrees, which I don't know what that is Celsius, but
Mm.
it's chilly. So I was up until I hopped on this interview with you. I was sitting outside in the sun under an umbrella because, again, I wear all black and I'm Irish and German. I would bake like a potato out there. But
Yeah.
I got my girls running around the pool, and I'm like, guys, sunblock now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, I would say, I would attribute mainly doing what I love for over half my life definitely attributes to probably some type of graceful aging as well. Just
Yeah.
being happy day in and day out, pretty much for 20
Yeah.
plus years can do wonders for the soul and the body. So
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, and now, like, so one, I guess, I guess you could say, one plus side, but also like a double-ended sword. That's the expression I was looking for. A double-ended sword to you guys coming back recently is that on one hand, no, we didn't get to see Stephen, but on the other hand, for those of you who don't know, first of all, fail. But no, no, no. In all seriousness, so in 2024, Stephen had to step away decided to step away from touring life to focus on family, if I got that right.
yeah, correct. Yeah, home life, family life, just
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But, so whereas, some people would kind of think, okay, well, what's the point in seeing Anberlin if the lead singer isn't even with them? Those harsh critics. But on the flip side, people, Anberlin have got the very own Maddie Mullins from US metalcore, no, hard rock. Yeah,
Yeah, metalcore. Yeah.
yeah, I always kind of like, yeah, they're a bit of this, they're a bit of that, yeah. But anyway, Memphis May Fire, which is absolutely incredible. Now, I read that Maddie has been a long-time fan and friend of you guys, so kind of take us through how that relationship kind of started and led to Maddie being the touring frontman.
Yeah. The whole thing honestly started with before Steven even talked to us, he threw out the idea to Maddie. Hey, I'm
Wow.
thinking about stepping aside, stepping away from touring life.
Yeah.
And I mean, Steven was the first one out of all of us to have children. And, he had them early on. So, he's got three lovely daughters that are, they're growing up and they're getting into those years where they need their dad around.
Yeah.
And, he felt that strongly. And so he spoke to Maddie. He and Maddie had a decent acquaintance relationship over the years, just being frontmen and kind of like the larger circle of you know alternative indie rock, metalcore, screamo. Just we as different as our genres are. Things like Warp Tour and Hot Topic and
Yeah.
MySpace and Facebook and all that stuff kind of like kind of intertwined our lives over the years. So, he reached out to Maddie with the idea of, hey, I'm thinking about stepping aside, but I kind of want to present the guys with an idea of going on without me with a lead singer that I think can carry the load. And Maddie was down. He was into it. He was he was already a fan of the band, and just mutually as a professional respected what we had done over the years. And so when Steven talked to us about it, I don't think any of us had really considered the idea of going on without Steven, but it was kind of a, well, we've already gone away once. Would it be, and then we came back. Would it be foolish to just try it and see what will happen? See
Yeah.
if it works. If it doesn't work, at least we tried. And that's what we did. And now here we are. We're going on, 2 years of Maddie stepping into that role. And we're having a great time. Steven's come out to even a few shows and performed with us with and without Maddie. And it's been a pretty,
Epic
all things considered, a
experience.
pretty
Yeah.
seamless experience, and for the most part, fans have been on board. They really,
Yeah.
you've got a few disgruntled fans out there, but I always say
They're
reading
not
the
real
language
fans.
and the in between the words of these people that kind of are very vocal about the change. They probably haven't been to a show in 10 plus years anyways, so I don't care
Yeah.
if they don't come to a show now.
Yeah.
You got people like, well, I haven't listened to you guys since Cities anyways. Okay, that was 2007. We're going on almost 20 years since we put
Yeah.
out Cities. And, we're 18 years or, 17 years, whatever, since we put out New Surrender. So that means you stopped listening to us around 2008. I'm not really worried about your opinion anyways. You haven't
Yeah.
supported the band for nearly 2 decades. So I don't care.
Yeah.
But
That.
overall, we've had, what matters to me is the people that have consistently shown up. Like we have a group of fans that we've become friends with in Australia, that they range from Brisbane to Melbourne to Adelaide. Um, and we've become friends with them over the years, and they love what's happening, and they love the current iteration of the band. And to me, that matters more. Is the people that are consistently showing up for you and they're being encouraging. That matters more to me than the people that are just being negative and they're being trolls online.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
So,
definitely. Now, one question that I've personally been wanting to really, like, because as I said in when we met in Sydney a couple of weeks ago, see, I love connecting with artists because I actually get to compile my muddled thoughts. So, like, when as you would have remembered, when we met a few weeks ago, obviously I'm not calm and composed and like not everything's coming out coherently because put on the spot, I'm like, oh my God, I've got so much going through my head.
mm-hmm.
How do I make it connect to my mouth without just being like, oh my God, I love you, you're an incredible bassist or whatever. So, which is true. But so,
Thank you.
I love that I actually get to sit down and go, rightio. So, yes, these are some really good questions to ask for fans in general, but I also get to sit there and go, okay, this is a question I really want to know, and it just so happens that I think viewers will also want to know as well. So, like, I know you have a really profound relationship with Australia and your fans in general. So it is really special when an artist or a band can not just connect with fans like on stage or, during a show, like, yeah, that is special, but it's little things like, for instance, um, okay, um, apart from Linkin Park, my other all-time favorite band is actually Hailstorm. Sorry, you guys are up there, but my one and
That's
two, I feel like, oh my God, I better, I feel like I'm kind of digging a grave here, but no, you guys are definitely up there. That's why I keep coming to your shows. But so with, say, Lizzie Hale, first time I met her, she just was able to be like, oh my God, this guy is actually blind. He needs to know who's talking to him from what angle. And so you'd be surprised at how incredibly rare it is for anyone that I can probably count on one hand how many people would actually, like, I'd be speaking to someone or I'd come up to them and they would gently touch my arm or hand and say, look, hey, this is Lizzie speaking to you here.
Mhm.
Just that deep connection just blew me away. So you guys actually did a very similar thing back in 2011. So at when you played the Enmore Theatre in Sydney in 2011, you guys saw that there was this 17-year-old blind guy at the front barrier off to would have been your right, and you went, "Oh my God, that is a hardcore fan. He must be getting brutalized by that mosh. We're going to invite him up to watch the rest of the show from the side of the stage and come up and say hi to him." So, things like that. So, I know this is a massive ramble, but
No,
things
no,
like
no.
that really stick with me, and it may seem small to some people, but it is just so profound. That's just so heartwarming. How is it, like, is it, do you guys have personal experience with other disabled people in your life, or is it simply fans in general that stick out to you? Kind of, when you connect with fans, how do you actually go about connecting on such a personal level? And yeah, like, do you actually guys have fellow disabled people in your lives and that means something to you?
We do. We do have a couple of us do have disabled people in our families.
Yep.
Um, and I don't, and apart from that, just having experience um, with interactions with, different interactions with people that need a different type of connection. I think a lot of it teaches you to not just connect in a different way, but maybe connect in all ways. To
Yeah.
see that someone needs something different than just a general connection.
Yeah.
And I think just being a band as long as we have and meeting so many different fans, and um, it's a something if you don't care, you can easily just be like, you can shake the hand and say next, right?
Yeah.
But I think for us, we've always recognized that 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 connection, that one-on-one connection with fans, whether it's making a crowd feel that connection from stage with our performance, and trying to be genuine in that performance, or even just when you're talking to somebody one-on-one and having just a normal conversation with them, like you would anybody else, regardless of what the pretense of the meeting is. I think that's something that we've just kind of always done, and if we
Yeah.
meet somebody that um, is on a different level of communication than what the person was before them, I think, if you're paying attention, you recognize that, then you pivot and you say, okay, well, I can't just expect them to jump to my level. I need to be on their level, and we need to meet in the middle here, and have an actual genuine connection, um, and I think, not to say that it's not a special moment of, what, I don't know if it was Joey or Steven. You would have been basically right in front of Joey at that point, at that show, which I think that was 2011. Probably would have been, I think it was that with Academy is.
Yeah.
Was that show? Yeah. Yeah, Joey would have been, to the right of me. So it could have been either Joey or Steven, maybe, that, recognized that, you were getting smashed against the barricade or whatever. Um, I think, we've, it's something, just, you can be in the performance and in the moment and whatever. But I think there's been times where, I mean, I've dropped my bass and jumped down between the stage and the barricade and broken up fights in the front row,
Yeah. Wow.
because I want our fans to not only connect with us but connect with each other. They should all be there enjoying it and having fun, right?
Yeah.
And we were playing a show in Sacramento, California, a few years ago, and there was these two fans that were just. I kept seeing it happen. I kept seeing it happen, and then it finally got to the point where there was some like shoving and kind of like swinging going on, and I just finally jumped down, and I like I kind of shuffled the crowd around and separated them in the middle of a song, because I was just like, this is ridiculous. I
Yeah.
think being aware in the moment, whether you're meeting somebody one on one or whether you're performing, it's about, one of the things that I think is one of the biggest blessings in what we do is the human connection, the real human connections that we get to make across the world and with so many
Yeah.
people. We meet so many people throughout the course of doing this, and we have met so many people throughout the course of doing this over 20 years. And
Yeah.
we could just not give a shit and treat every fan like they're the same, or we could actually be grateful and recognize that these people have stories just like we do, and you know, they're all unique, and the fact that they're even showing up for us at all is something to be grateful for. So giving them a little bit of, one-on-one connection is not a hard thing to do,
Yeah,
in my
wow, that,
opinion.
yeah,
So
that's,
it's I apart from having family experience with people who need a different form of communication. I think it's also just trying to be a genuine human being. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and
definitely.
caring about the people that you're around, whether you know them or not, is something that I think is very important in life in general. So
Yeah, wow. So the fact that you say it's not very difficult and, it's like just should be so innate and, it's not a big thing, that is a big thing that that is just so natural to you that you're so um, empathetic and to be able to have perspective to put yourself in other people's shoes and connect with them on a personal level, despite your tour schedule and fatigue and being up on stage and got to put on a hell of a show. That is truly special. And I think I can speak I think I can speak for everyone when I say thank you so much. So,
I mean, I appreciate it. Obviously, I appreciate it because we wouldn't still be here as a band. We wouldn't have just been able to come over to Australia and play if we didn't have fans that appreciate what we do, and that makes us very appreciative. And we always say thank you right back because there are no bands without fans. That's
yeah,
just the way it works. And for my very first show that I played, where the crowd was made up mostly of friends and people I went was in school with, to the first time I played a show in front of a complete set of strangers.
yeah,
The first time I traveled out of my town, and everybody that bought a ticket or paid money at the door for the show was somebody I didn't know. I think I don't think the gratitude has ever left. I've never taken it for granted. Like, oh, whatever, it's just another show. If I'm tired tonight, then I'll just give it 50%.
yeah,
I just don't. I'm not built like that. I'm
no,
not programmed like
yeah,
that. I, it's we have a saying in Anberlin that whenever things seem tough or morale's down, we will say, our worst day is still better than some people's best day because we're doing what we love.
ah, yeah, wow, that is,
We try and put it back in perspective, like, hey, we could be in a job that we hate, or in a relationship that we hate, and just sad, and not being the person that we want to be. We could be not doing the thing that we love. We could, but instead we may be tired, but we're tired because we're doing the thing that we absolutely chose to do, and the things that we wanted to do, and things we love to do.
yeah,
And we've been doing it for 20 plus years now.
that's
So
epic.
it's kind of a let's recenter the focus here. Let's bring the compass back to true north, and just remember that we asked for this, and this is what we always wanted, and you can't be mad when you receive everything that you always wanted. you
Yeah,
know
that's
so
epic.
yeah.
Okay, and before Zoom cuts us off, because I do have just the free version, but so I could keep talking for hours. You do realize that, Dion?
Oh,
I
I could
could,
be the same way. My wife says I have diarrhea of the mouth all the time because I get in conversations, and I'll go from one topic to the other and just talk, talk, talk. If I'm with somebody that I can just bounce, you know, from one topic to the other with, and we find a common interest, I will just go.
yeah, I'm exactly the same. That's the Irish coming out in the both of us, I think. Oh well, I think, or just the decent human being coming out in both of us. But anyway, but I do have the gift of the gab, so anyway. But I think it's time we get exclusive Dion, just me and you.
All
And,
right.
all of the viewers, of course, whatever. But what would you say is an exclusive fun fact about yourself?
I don't know if it's so much of a hidden fact because I'm pretty talkative about it a lot of times, but I am like when it comes to Star Wars, I am just the biggest nerd. I
Ah,
mean, I mean, it's the reason I say it's not that hidden because I have Star Wars tattoos in my arm, and
ooh,
I post stuff, and I go on Star Wars podcast, and but I absolutely love Star Wars. I mean, I was born in 1980, so it's been a lifelong thing that's just been here. And I started diving in years ago, reading more of the books and things like that. And during pandemic, when the world was shut down, I watched and rewatched all the movies, all the cartoons, everything, and then that was around the time that Mandalorian was released, and it's a big part of uh, my joy in life is just if I mean I my wife will make fun of me because I'll be working around the house and I'll just have a Star Wars movie playing in the background. She's
oh
like, "Are you
wow.
even watching this?" I'm like, "No, I know everything that's happening. I'm just listening to it at this point."
Yeah,
Like, um, yeah, not so much a secret thing because I don't really hide the things that I love in
yeah.
life. I kind of shout them from the rooftops unnecessarily, and maybe that annoys some people, but yeah,
No, that, wow.
it's something I absolutely love, and it's a big. I decided a long time ago. Like I said, Anberlin went away for a minute, and when around 2018, when we started talking, and we decided to start playing shows again, I promised myself that I would embrace the things that make me happy, and I
Yeah,
would enjoy those moments as much as possible. It's one of the reasons I look out at a crowd during every Amberlin show and I just smile and I'm just taking it all in because I feel like in the past, a lot of times I maybe didn't do that. I didn't
yeah,
appreciate the moments that I had when we're playing shows night after night, and sometimes it takes it going away for you to realize that. And I kind of applied that philosophy to all things in life. And Star Wars being one of those things, like, you know what? Star Wars is one of those things that has been consistent in my life, that's made me happy, that I've enjoyed my entire life. And I am just going to fully embrace that. So
hell
that's
yeah.
kind of maybe people already knew I love Star Wars, but that's I guess one of the main reasons that I love Star Wars so much is because I'm just embracing the joy that it has been in my life and the constant love that it has been in my life for all these years.
Okay, so Dion, I do actually have a really interesting question that I've brought up with a lot of my friends lately with the whole regarding the price increase in concerts and touring these days, and how much you have to pay, just to see live music and meet your favorite bands. And I was at a record store on the weekend that I'd met a couple of bands do signing there in the past, and they said, to meet the bands, you have to pay at least $300, and it has to be at the venue before. And I went, okay, well, that's being a bit dramatic as a generalization. And I was when I was talking to my friends as far as, the price of things. So when it comes to the band like you guys and other bands that you know of, how much input do you have on like the price of tickets and meet and greets, or is that kind of all up to the publicist and touring company?
I can't really speak into how much it costs in other countries. Definitely doesn't cost $300 in the States. If you do an add-on for a meet and greet or
Mm,
VIP session, I mean some bands may charge 100, We I think ours is like $75
Well,
US.
yeah,
And
it
that
was like
usually comes with, it's not just to meet us. I mean, there's
no,
merch involved, and usually some type of, personal interaction. It's not simply a pay to play a price. There's
yeah,
multiple items of merch that come in, and along with that, whether it be a T-shirt or a tote bag or some type of special vinyl or something. Uh, you know, it's we don't think that we alone warrant a a price tag, but it's kind of like, hey, you get an extra piece of special merch, and we can all hang out and do. We like to do Q&As with our fans at ours.
yeah,
Ask us anything. It's we the more awkward the better.
yeah,
So we try to get personal and give people a chance to get to know us better. I think a lot of people aren't sticking around hanging out in the dank alley anymore after shows as much as they maybe used to. Who knows? But so it is a chance for us to get to know each other a bit better. But yeah, $300. I don't know how. I don't know.
yeah.
That's a lot. But
Well, I guess it's like because like for you guys when we met last month or beginning of this month, no, end of last month, yeah, end of February. Anyway, time flies. Um, yeah, that was cheap as chips, and I really appreciate that. And I was wondering, is that
I thought
kind?
I'm sorry. I'm glad you said that because I thought you were about to say it was $300. I was like, well, we did not know that.
No, no,
So
no,
I'm
no.
I'm
No,
glad that it wasn't super
for you
expensive.
guys, it was cheap as chips. But I was wondering, is that kind of destroy all lines setting that, or do you sit down and go, hey, look, we don't want to charge any more than 75 or 100 or whatever? So I guess, and, like, for instance, to see Lady Gaga last year in her, I think it was the Mayhem Ball stadium tour, just for standing tickets in the front area was like $325 and you don't get any merch or anything. And and like that's not as bad as other shows. That was just the first one that came to mind where it's like I don't know. Do the artists kind of go, hey, yeah, we're going to charge maximum dollar, or is that kind of Live Nation, or from your experience, kind of who sets the prices?
So for the most recent Australian tour, that was a Destroy All Lines meet and greet that they set, and luckily, um, we were able to keep it in line with something that we would do in the States, because in the States we do set the price for our own. We partner with a company to do meet and greets. They handle all the logistics and everything, and makes it a lot easier on us, because I have worked with other artists and done it on behalf of Anberlin as well in the past, where we've handled all of the ticket upgrade and everything, and I mean, there was one tour that was doing like open ended meet and greets, ticket meet and greet upsales, and it was one show had like 400 and something people
Mm,
doing it, and it was pretty daunting sorting all that, make sure everybody got the information they needed and all that. But as it relates to Amberlin, yeah, in the States we keep a pretty tight um, quality control and price control on the thing. And it's good that in Australia, Draw Lines respected that, and uh, didn't overcharge our fans, because to us it's about we want it to be accessible to everybody,
yeah,
not just people who can afford a high price. So it is nice. I mean, yeah, it is going to be more than your average ticket, but and it is a special thing. And like I said, we try to make it a special thing. We don't.
Yeah,
It's not just a quick 2 second photo and then move you on your way. We stand around and try to ask, talk to our fans and sign everything and answer questions if anybody has them. So
yeah,
yeah, that's the way we do it. I'm not can't speak into the way anybody else does it, but that's the way Anberlin handles it. We want interactions with fan to be on a personal level and something special and
yeah.
accessible.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, as I've said before, that yeah, you guys do actually make things really special for your fans. So I mean, I can say personally, thank you so much, guys. And yeah, so it's no surprise why you've got such a devoted, loyal fan base in Australia and across the world. So yeah,
And I think I told this story earlier, but I mean, the first time that we played in Australia in Adelaide at the Enigma Bar, we the show was over, everything's done, gear's packed up, and we found that all the fans that a lot of the fans that were at the show were hanging out downstairs at the bar and the at the pool tables. So
mm,
we said, we want to go down there, and we met a bunch of the people that were just at the show that night. We were very excited because we flew to the other side of the world, to the southern hemisphere, and there was 400 people at that first show that wanted to come see us play, and we wanted to talk to them.
yeah,
and you know and it was a very memorable night for us, and it's so memorable that years later Stephen wrote the song Adelaide about
yeah,
our first tour in Australia, in our first show in Australia, because of just what an impression the fans made on us, the people made on us, not just about playing in the country, but connecting with the people in the country.
yeah. That's epic. Sweet. Okay, well now it's time for my favorite question of all, Dion. That's
Hit
right,
me.
people. It's WTF time. Now, I know I gave you fair warning to keep it in the back of your head, so let's see what's cooking up when I ask what the most hilarious, priceless, what the F moment on your music career is, not holding anything back, Dion.
I'm going to tie this one into our upcoming tour that starts off in about 6 weeks. Back in 2006, we were on a tour with the band Emery. We were
Hmm.
label mates at the time. We were both about a year into our albums. We were a year into Never Take Friendship Personal. They were a year into The Question, give or take, a few weeks, whatever. We found out on the same night on that tour that both of our albums had sold 100,000 copies within a year, and we just were blown away. It was a huge
Wow.
celebration because for both of us, it was our second albums, um, or it was our second album. You don't know that you're going to get a first album, let alone a second album, when you're
Yeah.
coming from middle of nowhere in Florida, and so it was a great tour, but there was a moment on that tour. We were in the Midwest of Florida, kind of in the northern part of the Midwest, which would be about south of Darwin if it was Australia. So
Yeah.
we were traveling to Iowa, and we were playing at a show in Des Moines, and it was about 6 or 7 in the morning, and I'm in my bunk, and I hear a really loud noise, and the bus kind of swerves, and I'm rocking in my bunk as I'm laying there, and I hop up and I open the bunk door, and I look out in the front lounge towards where the driver is, and I'm like, and I hear him yelling. He's yelling like, "You dirty motherfucker! You dirty mother!" I'm just like, what? I'm thinking that maybe somebody cut us off, somebody hit us, and I'm yelling, "Mike, are you okay?" And he's not answering. He's just yelling at the top of his lungs at somebody. And so I'm like, well, the bus is driving straight again. We're not swerving. I guess we're okay. So I close the door to the bunk area, and I lay back down. And within a minute of or so of me laying back down and planning to go back to sleep, the bus pulls over and stops. So I immediately hop up because I'm like, there's something wrong with the buses. If Mike was yelling as the driver and he has now pulled the bus over, there's something wrong. So I hop up again. I'm in my pajamas, I open the door and now I'm a little more awake and I notice that there are feathers all throughout the front lounge. Um, so I'm just looking around. I'm like, what is going on? So I yell again, Mike, are you okay? He looks back. There's a curtain that separates kind of the living area from the driver's area. He rips the curtain open, looks back, and go, "We hit a fucking turkey, man!" And I'm like, "What in the what?" And and then that's when I look down and I see not just feathers, but there's glass everywhere. And he yells again, "A turkey flew through the windshield!" And I'm just like, "What is going on?" This is what I wake up to, and so I look around. I try to like not step on glass. I find my shoes, and I make my way up to where Mike is. And by now, everybody's waking up because they're hearing yelling and all sorts of commotion. The bus isn't moving, and so basically, what happened, after I'm talking to Mike, is we were traveling together with Emery's bus. They were in front of us. Our driver was following their driver. And I guess when their bus went by, it scared this turkey that was on the side of the road, and it flapped its wings and kind of hovered up and fluttered into the lane that we were driving in and crashed through the passenger windshield of the bus and shattered it. And and the most amazing part is I made my way up there. The turkey is still alive. It's just hanging out in the stairwell of the bus. American tour buses are like any other kind of transit bus. You got your door, the stairs that come up, you walk into the bus. So the turkey is just there in the stairwell, passed out. And it's still kind of moving, but it's just out cold, breathing. And we're just like, how how does this happen? Like this is it's crazy. And we clean up all the glass and the feathers. We try not to disturb the turkey. We're just like, well, we don't know what to do with this thing. Is it going to die? Like what? The thing wakes up and kind of hops down off the steps and gets back on the side of the road where the bus is parked and just kind of lays its head down on the first step as if it's catching its breath. And then it finally stands up and starts trotting away like nothing ever happened. And as it's trotting away, it stops. Our driver Mike, and we have this on video somewhere. I wish I could find it, or I'd send it to you for the purpose of this story. Our driver Mike walks up, leans over to the turkey, and says, "Next time, don't cross the road," and just walks away. And we're just like, what is going on? So we had to drive, and this was like early springtime in that part of the country, and it was quite cold. It was about 45, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which I don't know what that would be Celsius.
No
But
idea, but yeah.
yeah, chilly. Let's say that, especially when you start driving a bus and you have no windshield. So we had to finish the drive to the venue with no windshield for the driver. We get to the venue and we weren't able to get a replacement bus until the next day. So we had to somehow fix this busted out windshield. So the two drivers, they break out all the glass. Luckily it was two separate pieces of glass on the driver's side and the passenger side. And they go to Home Depot and they get 2x4s and plywood, and they basically just board up the passenger window. And we thought it was hilarious, so we painted it. We painted a gigantic target on the piece of wood and painted the words "turkey catcher" on the wood of our bus, and we traveled like that for the next 24 hours until we got to Chicago and were able to switch out buses for a bus that did not have a busted out windshield, courtesy of a turkey. So I think, I mean, there's plenty of stories that I
Wow.
could probably tell, but to this day, that is probably the top five that comes to mind. And especially right now, like I said, that it's full circle because 20 years later, here we are. We're doing a tour starting in 6 weeks with Emery, where
Yeah.
we are playing "Never Take Friendship Personal" in full. And
Wow.
that story, when you asked that question, that story was the first one that came to mind, and it's still like one of the craziest things that has ever happened to me on tour is having a turkey not only fly through our bus windshield but survive the ordeal. That was
Yeah.
the most impressive thing to me was that the thing survived. I mean, in my mind, it survived. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe there was some internal bleeding involved and it died later. But I saw it walk away, and
Yeah.
that was good enough for me.
Whoa. So,
So yeah,
did you keep that piece of wood with the turkey and the dartboard painted on it?
no, unfortunately. So the bus company sent out another bus, and they sent a driver. They sent two drivers with another bus to get a new bus to us, and then those two drivers took the other bus back. So they kept the wood so that they could
Oh,
drive, safely to
yeah.
back to Florida, where the bus company was located, which was a long drive. I mean, it's like an 18-hour drive. And
Yeah,
within
wow.
24 hours, they got a bus to us, which was pretty impressive. So, props to them. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. I have pictures of it on a hard drive somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
crazy, crazy moment. And there's plenty of things you think are going to happen on tour, but that's a turkey hitting your bus windshield and surviving after crashing through it. That's definitely not one that's on your bingo card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Whoa. I mean, I safe to say I think the bird gave you the bird.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Now, it has been an absolute treat chatting to you, and as I said earlier, I could keep talking on and on and on if it wasn't for the Zoom time limit. It is the Irish coming out in me and you, I remember.
Yeah.
Um, so, but we'll leave it with one cherry on top of the cake, and hopefully we can catch up again soon. I would absolutely love that. But for now, so what's next for Anberlin? I noticed that your tour continues, I think, in May, but what juicy news and things are in the pipe works?
Yeah. So May 14th, we continue a US run um, of celebrating Never Take Friendship Personal. It's actually essentially a rescheduled tour from last year. We had to postpone last year. So this is the second leg of the tour that started last year, and so we're doing that. But we have an entire new album recorded that
Ooh,
will be coming out later this year. So everybody should be looking to that. We're mixing it right now, and kind of putting the final bells and whistles, finishing touches, whatever you want to call it. We're buttoning
yeah,
it up. So yeah, the album's being mixed right now. We are very proud of it. We're super excited to put it out there and let everybody hear it. So I think everybody's going to enjoy it. We definitely
yeah,
enjoyed making it. So yeah, that's I guess like the biggest thing for us this year is a new album. First new album that is like intentional, 10 songs for a new album. We're not gonna do EPs or anything. We're just releasing a full new album, and
yeah.
we're very excited about that.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully, you busy lads have time later in the year to chat about the new album. I'd love to dive into that.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for your time, Dion. It's been so enjoyable. Thank you.
Yeah, Brendan, thank you for having me, and we'll definitely talk again soon. If not on here, hopefully when we're in Oz again and we're hanging out at a show in Sydney.
Oh, yes, I love the sound of that. Well, take care, my friends.
Absolutely, you too, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks heaps.